We continue on Offside Sports inside the Loft 100 studios in Southern California, presented by Turtlebox Audio. Waterproof, durable, and insanely loud. Find their industry-changing portable speakers at turtleboxaudio.com. Of course, this portion of the program is presented by Emerald Spirit Tequila, a veteran-owned small batch tequila inspired by brotherhood and coastal adventure, crafted in the highlands of Jalisco for those who appreciate uncompromising quality. Find the bottle nearest you at emeraldspear.com. Dave, you had a son who played quarterback at the University of Alabama under Nick Saban, who probably will go down as maybe the.
He's the greatest.
Or you think he's the greatest?
Better than Bear Bryant.
Better than Bear, better than Canute Rockne, better than John McKay. But just, I mean, a guy who looks like he's never been happy in his life, but good God, does he make winners out of those kids who play for him. Did it at LSU and then the string of championships at Alabama. What was Josh's time at Alabama like?
You know what? It was the best move he ever had. So I was lucky enough that my son was a Division I baseball player. I was recruited for both baseball and football, gave baseball a shot, and hated college baseball. And said,
was he up at UC Irvine?
He was up at Riverside.
Riverside, excuse me.
And he decided, I'm going back to football, and literally was in the University of North Carolina offices, signing his agreement to play at North Carolina, and Saban's office called and said, we're here going back to football. And so was Alabama, and he went. But Saban was great. And Josh knew when he went in that quarterback room that it was going to be very tough to be able to play. And at the same time, he became friends with a freshman named Jalen Hurts.
I heard he was pretty good.
He was pretty good. And him and Jalen became very good friends. And he knew right away, I'm probably not going to play, but this is going to be a life experience. And he moved up to number 2. And Saban was great. I mean, you know, just on a personal note, a few years ago, my youngest son passed away, and Saban was the week of the LSU-Alabama game, biggest week of the year, called our house twice, sent flowers to my wife twice, sent flowers for the funeral, made sure my son found a job after college, wrote the nicest letter of recommendation, and my son has a great life right now, and I'll say it's 100% for Nick Saban because he opened so many doors afterwards. And nothing against San Diego State where you and I went, but San Diego State has never called me and said, are you doing okay? Is there anything we can do for you? Alabama calls them all the time, and that's because Nick Saban set that culture. And it's not just Josh, it's every kid that goes through Alabama as you're part of the family. It's like the once a Raider, always a Raider. It's like that
absolutely.
At Alabama.
And that's what Al Davis staked his reputation on as the owner, manager, the general partner, as they say. And yeah, I mean, Saban, again, we would only see the part that he would let us see, and those sideline interviews and stuff that he absolutely detested. I know as a sideline reporter in the NFL and in college football, there is nothing worse than knowing that you've got to go up to a coach who absolutely detests either running off the field at halftime or coming back on the field after halftime is over. And it's like, dude, A, don't ask a question you can answer yourself, and don't ask a yes or no. That producer is saying you better have something. So, Coach, is it intense out there?
Yeah. What's your favorite color? I don't know the answer to that one.
You look like you had ice cream at halftime. What flavor was it there? But, you know, I talk about, and knowing Josh as I know him, you know, a great human being, and he was one of those when I found out that he was going to Alabama, I became an even bigger Alabama fan. We all did than I was to begin with. And NIL had not crept into the situation yet, but you had told us as a parent on the team how much the school would take care of the parents at home games or away games.
Always.
And how much you were meant to feel like you were part of the family.
Yeah, and it's a big deal. I think for anyone who has a kid that goes to college, whether they're an athlete or not, you want to know your kid's in good hands, you know, and they're going to come out a better person. And so, you know, Allison's son played, you know, major college football too. And so it's that feeling, is my kid a better human being now after that experience? And we're lucky that both of us have great stories that it worked out for us.
No, Josh and Ben are both salt of the earth guys, and there's big things ahead for them both. The University of Maryland head coach Mike Loxley, Allison, who you know personally, because Allison worked with the University of Maryland as far as kind of getting them, I don't want to say getting them up to speed, but helping with the psychological impact of playing major college football on a young guy, also having to go to school and stuff like that.
Yeah, and a lot of it was encouraging them to seek out the resources that are available to them because they're there. and getting them to open up, not be afraid. So many of them are nervous to approach a coach and say, hey, I'm struggling in school, or I'm struggling in this relationship, or my parents back home are asking me for money, or whatever it is. They struggle with asking for that help because they think, wow, are they going to think I'm weak?
Yeah.
Are they going to think, are they going to take away my playing time? So they don't do it. So it was a lot of it was encouraging that, and Coach Loxley really promoted that open door for his players.
Every conference has their big media days before practice begins for the teams, and here's Mike Loxley at Big Ten Media Days for the University of Alabama, and he kind of is talking about what University of Maryland. He's talking about what NIL did to his locker room last year.
The landscape of college football taught me a valuable lesson. And that valuable lesson is it's important for me, even in the midst of this change, to continue to educate our players on the importance of what playing for something bigger than yourself is all about. And I can tell you that if I've got to put my desk in the locker room this year, I will. And I expect our team to show up, play hard, and probably one of the most exciting things is if you ask me what kind of team we have, I don't know yet. And that's a good thing. And that's a good thing because as a coach, sometimes we feel like we have to have that answer. Well, I've got fall camp. I've got about 25 practices in July and August to figure it out and feel very confident with the changes and the elevation of our program.
So he goes.
That we'll put a product on the field.
He goes on to talk about it was the haves versus the have-nots in that locker room, and he had limited funds. He didn't have what Michigan or Alabama or Ohio State, Oregon have. Yeah. As far as what to pay the players, who to give how much. And he said, because of the limited funds, I had to give other guys more. There were other guys who got less. And people started chirping about it. And people started saying, Dave, you're getting how much to play quarterback, and you threw 4 interceptions today? And here I am, some grunt offensive lineman, and I'm not getting S. I got a problem with that.
Yeah.
And I just wonder how prevalent this is in college football locker rooms that we haven't heard yet. This is the first I've kind of heard a coach address it, and I think it's probably rampant in college football right now.
You know, I'm really happy this story is coming out because he's not the only one as a coach who's going through this. Because I think most people feel, first of all, in the NFL, because we've been around it for a long time, the NFL has this code of you never mess with another player's money.
Yep.
And whether it's a sit out, no one ever complains. You get your money, and everyone appreciates the way it's done. College football is now different. It's now younger guys who still have the dream of being maybe a superstar Hall of Famer in the NFL one day. For a coach to be in that position is very tough for him because you go into the attitude is we win as a team, we lose as a team. Now all of a sudden you're getting paid and I'm not, and you're the guy that's losing the game for us. It becomes a major issue. I feel bad for Coach right there because here he is in a really tough conference, obviously with Ohio State and Michigan, like you just said, Mike.
Yeah.
I mean, he could have gone to that podium right there if you looked at that and said, what are these 2 trophies? I've never seen either one of those. That's a Big Ten trophy. That's a national championship trophy. What are these? Because he really doesn't have a chance to win at Maryland.
Yeah.
So the recruiting is, and you know how it works, when you bring a player in that you might want, what's that player going to do? He's going to interview the players on that team. What's it like and why should I come to Maryland? Those players are going to say horrible things about that program from what happened last year. It's going to be really tough to build.
Yeah, that's been my biggest fear with the whole NIL explosion is that it's just changing it so much for all the players, and that like you said, the haves and the have-nots. Are kids getting resentful of other kids? Is an O-lineman now not going to protect his quarterback the way he should? Is a defensive guy not going to go to get that interception? You know, it's just they still want to build themselves up as good players because they do have those dreams of making it to the NFL. But it's that money in there at that age and at that level when you're competing to follow your dream, it's tough.
Well, and as far as the NFL is concerned, with those teams, those, you know, as my dad told me a long time ago, and I think he probably took it from somebody else. Those are guys with baby seats in the back of their cars. It is their job. It is their livelihood. And they may hate the guy they're playing with. They may hate that guy who's making a ton of money but not really fulfilling his contract. But they could be gone in the beat of a heart. Yeah. And so they've got to go out there. It doesn't matter how your teammate's doing. You have to play to the best of your ability. In college football, it's a little different. I mean, they're 1 year contracts as far as the scholarships are concerned. And now you have, Dave, you mentioned, going into a locker room and if you're a player being recruited, interviewing the other guys, what's probably one of the first two questions asked? How much you getting paid?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And, and are they kicking it up to you like they're supposed to do? Because, this school's coming after me, this school's coming after me. And I think we're going to get a lot more of this NIL type of chatter that Mike Loxley has addressed as we get into it and the college football rolls on. All right, what's the big news people are talking about, and how are we doing with our weekly Prize Picks bets? We'll have the gots and the bots. Coming up next as Offside Sports continues, so keep it here.